Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where insanity reigns supreme and safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, it's comforting to know an ancient, fat, long-haired, bearded reprobate has your mind in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. And despite every attempt by the SHR Media Network to revoke his shameless contract, we return to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com, where I am broadcasting live right now in the sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent SHR Media Studios, about 2 miles east of the Bill Mill, the locus of evil on the entire left coast. Yes, that would be the Capitol building in Sacramento and 10th and L Streets, where late at night you can hear the death of common sense issuing and wailing and bemoaning from that particular building egregiously. And when I exit this door and the show is concluded, I can smell the noxious, odoriferous stench of sulfur and brimstone likewise emanating from that terrible, terrible building. You got a belly up to the bar. We've kept your seat. It's great to see you back. Tonight is Tuesday. It is November the 12th, the year of our Lord 2019. Kelly is going to be your bartendress tonight. She pours with the best of them, and the lava lamp is in fact lighted to my right, your left, indicating that you can watch the show live streaming on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. While you're there, hit like, hit subscribe. For God's sakes, you got to be able to do that. And I also have to tell you this, we don't water our drinks just like we don't water our conversation. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon. Nothing is sacred. The speech is free, but the booze is not. All we ask is that you flush the toilet, jiggle the handle. Dang it, don't forget to tip your waitress. Right? Right. Have we got a show for you? Quite literally. Tonight we have the distinct honor and pleasure of speaking directly to the creator of the entire walkaway movement. That is none other than Brandon Straka. Not for the first time either. Oh no, for the fourth time I've since discovered. Shame on me. And Brandon, this proves I am educamable. Can become educamable. Because I've been up to the prior session, I've been mispronouncing Brandon's last name on 3 prior occasions. And he's been, again, nice enough not to correct me on the air. It's Brandon Strock, folks. Please, if you talk to him, pronounce his last name correctly. It's not Straka, although that's how it's spelled. It's Brandon Strock, not Straka. Okay, so I am learnable. I am teachable. This is just to confirm. And like I always do, because it's very important to acknowledge, I want to thank you, Brandon Strock, for staying up so late to speak to myself and all the listeners tonight, because, again, it's a little after 11 p.m. where you are right now on the East Coast, and, you know, it's that little 3-hour time difference thingy. So, Brandon Strock, thank you very kindly for being here, if for no other reason, just for that.
You're very welcome. How are you? It's good to be back talking with you again.
I know it's a lengthy introduction, isn't it? You're thinking, when is the fat, old, ugly guy just going to shut the hell up and let me talk? I know.
Well, it seemed like there were like 12 times where it was like my time to start. So then by the time it was my time to start, I wasn't sure anymore.
Yeah, then you're thinking, well, wait, was it? No, yeah. Yeah. To be honest, because you've been so busy, I wasn't exactly sure that you were going to have time for the bulbous one because, again, you were running your butt off, but you've been doing that for quite some time. Now,
Yes.
you came to Sacramento 9 months ago on February 23rd. That's kind of my neck of the left coast. Well, actually, I broadcast out of Sacramento. And you were there to support one of our local guys, this guy named Travis Allen, who was running for chairman of the California Republican Party. I voted for him for governor this past November. And, of course, California got Gavin Newsom. Woo-hoo! And I'm sure you've probably heard that California Democrats already have what is considered to be a 3/4 mega majority in the state legislature. That means basically, you know what? They can do whatever the hell they want. But anyway, welcome officially for the 4th time to the ever ebullient Brandon Strock back to the Saloon. And thank you for being here again tonight, sir.
I know it's great to be back. I really do love doing your show. Nobody has a show quite as atmospheric as yours.
Well, that's true. If you actually look at the video, it is rather atmospheric. That's a good point. Wait. That deserves a... Which is what I usually do when people make an excellent point. I was thinking about doing... No, then I thought, no, that's just too damn loud. So, again, thanks for being here. First, Brandon Strock, where can you be found on the interwebs and on social media?
Well, I've made it really easy for people now. So they can find me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook by using @Brandon Strock. And as you so beautifully pointed out, my last name is spelled Straka. So it's as if it's @Brandon Straka. It's Brandon Strock.
But I should point out again that I'm educamable, and Brandon has educated me from last time how to pronounce his name correctly, so I'm not quite that big a goof. So like I've said this time before, do you ever get any sleep, for God's sake?
I do actually. I actually get I get a little more sleep now than I did in the first year of Walkway. The first year was rough because when I first started the campaign, all I had no money, I had no political contacts, I had no media contacts, I had no clout or any any entree sort of into this scene that I now find myself in. So the only way that I could actually build this movement and get the word out about it was by doing as much media as I could do nonstop. And I mean, so I was doing AM radios, interviews at 5, 6 in the morning. And then there are shows like yours that I was doing at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Jesus. So, I mean, quite literally for the first 6 to 8 months, I was just doing interviews around the clock. But it was, I know how this works. It's like, if I didn't do that, it would have just trended as a hashtag and then it would have just evaporated. And so I knew that in order to have staying power and to actually make this into a lasting organization and a lasting movement, I had to keep before the public, keeping their eyes, keeping their ears, keeping their heads. And that just required nonstop interviews.
And you've made some great interviews. As we spoke just before the show, and I said I've got some audio cuts that I wanted to play tonight, which are off of, let's see, where'd I get them? I got them from your Twitter. And again, if you want to follow Brandon Strock on Twitter, it's @Brandon, Bradon, Straka. Well, that's how you have to write it, Straka. So he's on Twitter there. And also, now let me ask you, Brandon, is this website still up? Because I found it, walkawaycampaign.com.
Of course.
Okay, and now, isn't that the site with which people would donate if they want to donate to your campaign? Don't they go there?
Absolutely, yes. So if they go to there's always 3 things I like to point people toward when they go to our website.
Okay.
One of them is, we'll make that last. The first is join the movement. That's a button they'll see when they get on the homepage. Join the movement will connect them to the Facebook group where it all began, which houses tens of thousands of video and written testimonials, people telling their stories of why they're walking away, which is really the heart and soul of what the campaign is all about. It's the people and their stories and their experiences. And so join the movement is important. There's a button that allows people to get involved if they want to volunteer. We can always use more help. So if people want to volunteer, they can do that on the website. And last, and dare I say, perhaps most importantly, the donate button. As we are a grassroots organization, we really need people's help because we do, events around the country speaking to Black Americans, LGBT Americans, Hispanic, Jewish, basically minority groups of all kinds, as well as doing issue-based events and just encouraging people to wake up and walk away from the political left. And just, if I could say really quickly, one of the events that we did most recently, which was awesome, was the Walkaway Rescue America Town Hall in Portland, Oregon with Dinesh D'Souza. That was really good.
It's funny. You're in my head again, but that's okay because I know at the end of the show you have to leave. But while you're in my head temporarily, yes, we are going to go to all those various places that you spoke about, all the various campaigns. I've got some great audio cuts for folks to listen to tonight. But in your mind, Brandon Strock, what does the hashtag walkaway movement mean to you?
The walkaway campaign, the walkaway movement, to me, represents freedom. It represents people having an awakening in this country to clear, critical, independently minded thinking. And that's, at the end of the day, it's all about freedom, intellectual freedom. And I guess what I mean by that is my discovery of what is really going on with the political left and the ideology of liberalism, the Democratic Party, the liberal media. The number one thing I took away from my own awakening is that we are being lied to and we're being manipulated. And there is a false reality that's being created in this country. And it's quite easy to believe that false reality because more than 90% of the media perpetrates it. The entertainment industry continues that narrative for them.
Oh, yeah.
And the Democrat politicians embrace that false narrative and manipulate it to get power and control and to get people to vote the way they want them to vote. And those of us who are the most targeted and the most used and manipulated are any of us in this country who fall into a minority class, be it racial minority, religious minority, gender minority, or LGBT minority. If you're a minority, then they are absolutely manipulating fear to cause division and to cause mistrust and to control your emotions and your behavior. And so to me, walk away is about waking up to the truth about all of that, regaining your independence, regaining your freedom, and regaining intellectual individualism.
I've said this before, Brandon. I'd like to pause here for a second, and it may seem gratuitous because I have said it before, but I'll say it again because I think it needs repeating. Your timing and your aim was absolutely prescient when you opened up the entire walkaway campaign, the movement. It was a brilliant concept, and I think ingenuity and brilliance like that requires acknowledgement. And the key is, like you've said, the movement isn't aimed at any real one segment of Americans. It's aimed at everybody. People that feel abandoned by the Democrats, played, people who feel like they've been betrayed, people who want to stand up for themselves and say something similar to, you know what, I'm nobody's monolithic voting bloc. I'm tired of being used like some, Kleenex and thrown away. I'm tired of being manipulated by the Democrats, and I'm tired of listening, as you also indicated, to Democrat Party lies. So I think it's very important. And the other thing that needs to be repeated is this has been the beauty of this, folks, and Brandon, is that everybody gets to tell their own story. Every everybody gets to personalize their means and manner of being impacted by walking away from the Democrats. That is sheer brilliance. It is a testimonial campaign. And that's what I think is the real hook for this thing. I have to tell you, Brandon, it was a brilliant idea.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I can tell you that the reason why I came up with the concept in the first place was based entirely off of actual experiences that I had. You know, when I had my own awakening, which began in early 2017, I felt so alone. I cannot articulate how lonely the year 2017 was for me, because the more that I discovered and the more that I was learning, the more that the people who had been my friends my whole life were walking away from me and turning their backs on me. Meanwhile, I couldn't find other people in the world who were having the same experience as me. And I quite literally would get into bed at night and scour the internet because I thought I was losing my mind. And so I started trying to seek out, like, what is happening to me? Like, it's a pretty unusual experience to completely reverse your thinking about just about everything you ever believed. I mean, everything almost.
That's a shock. That's got to be a shock. That's a massive. That's a brainial paradigm shift, the likes of which I'll wager not a lot of people have had to shift their heads into. That's a completely different, unique space. But Brandon Strzok, I got to ask you this: back in your brain, didn't you really think at the most basic, the most foundational, didn't you really fundamentally believe there's got to be other people out here like me right now?
Yes. And eventually I found them. It took a lot. I mean, it was like the most intense scavenger hunt that you can ever imagine going on, because you have to bear in mind, even people who are out and proud Republicans and Trump supporters don't speak up. At least at that time, not a lot of people were admitting that they supported Trump or loved Trump. So, I mean, imagine if you didn't even love Trump or were a conservative, but then you had this sort of awakening and changed your mind. You're probably not going to run to the internet or anything and start talking about it. So I had to kind of like find this underground railroad of like conservatives and people who, Trump supporters and people who had this red pill experience. And when I did, I kept thinking to myself, it's such a shame that the rest of the world doesn't know these people the way that I know these people, because they're nothing at all like what the media is reporting. And then I just sort of thought to myself, well, first of all, I'm just going to blow the roof off of what I think is wrong with liberalism in the Democrat Party. That's why I made that original 6-minute video. But then I thought to myself, I'm going to encourage other people to step up. Now that I put it out there, I got the ball rolling. Now let's have more people make videos and more people tell their stories. And through that, it'll, someone will see their video. They'll be inspired to make a video like dominoes, right? And then through that experience, we'll also be creating a network of people who can come together, and we never have to be alone again. Because walking away from the left is a lot like leaving a cult. I mean, honest to God, it's a lot. What's that?
That's brilliant. That's genius. It's true. I agree. I completely agree.
It's like leaving a cult, because a lot of people will tell you that if you discontinue believing what they want you to believe and what everyone else is believing and everyone's going along with, that they'll never talk to you again. And they don't. They mean it. I mean, I lost well over 90% of my friends when I left the left. And in certain religious cults, that's called disconnecting. They call that, if you stop going along with the cult ideology, they will disconnect from you. And that's sort of what it's like. And so I thought, well, if Leah Remini can create her Scientology in the Aftermath show, and, why can't Brandon Strzok create leftism in the Aftermath?
Again, You only have the rest of the hour to be in my brain. Get out of my brain, because that's the first thing that I was thinking is Leah Remini, because I've watched that whole Scientology gig, and the first thing I was thinking is, just like Scientology, they're not just they won't just let you go. It's not a matter of just, okay, well, bye-bye. It's a matter of, no, we're going to go out and make sure that not only do we make your life a living hell as much as we can, we're going to make a pointed effort to attempt to destroy you if we can, up to and including, if we can, making sure that you're kicked out of your job, whatever that may be. It doesn't just stop with, okay, well, see ya. Oh, no.
When I changed my mind, and I started speaking out publicly on social media, I have friends some of them have known me for more than 20 years. Some of them have known me since childhood, who went on social media and said that I was doing drugs, that I had a nervous breakdown, that I had joined a cult. As a matter of fact, which was ironic because I had just left a cult, but I just had a phone conversation with a friend the other day. It's a guy that I haven't talked to in several years, but he and I were close friends many years ago. And over the course of the last year and a half, I've texted him, and he always returns my texts. And he's always like, how you doing? How you doing? So I thought to myself, wow, I guess he just doesn't, he is one of the rare ones who doesn't have a problem with the fact that I changed my mind. And I got on the phone with him a week or so ago, and first words out of his mouth were, I heard that you lost your mind. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, well, people are saying that you like Trump and all this stuff. And I was like, well, I do like Trump. And he went insane. Like, I mean, literally just started like shouting and just being like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy. Aren't we? Everyone, it doesn't matter what paint job, genitalia, or length of hair. Aren't we all sharing commonalities and similar goals? Because we don't want to see our country or our freedoms and our liberties blowed up by a cadre of the insane who have, in my opinion, very little, if any, real actual honest-to-God grasp of reality, and think now that somehow they can do socialism better than whatever last dictator was. And it never stops at socialism. Too many people, young people, millennials, Gen Zers, they don't realize socialism has never worked, ever.
Well, wait a minute. You're talking about socialism. That's different than democratic socialism.
Oh, right, which is different from communism, which has killed, about 150 million people in the last 100 years. But let's not think about that. That's bad. You can't think about that. No, can't do it.
Yeah, my biggest issue, everybody kind of has their own reasons for leaving the left. And in the most general terms, they're all the same, which is that they feel like the party no longer represents them. The leftist ideology does not represent them anymore. And that they're feeling pushed away. And, but if you start digging into more specific terms, everybody's got their own story, which is why the testimonials are so interesting.
Right. It's cool.
For me, it's the media. It's the media and truth. And it's so interesting, too, because certainly if you ask my parents, my mother is always all too happy to talk about what a nightmare I was when I was in high school. So it's not, I don't try to present myself as being a choir boy by any, I guess I never dreamed that it would become my quest in life to fight for truth. Like, I didn't realize I was that virtuous. But it's like, for me, that's really what it's all about, is these people are demented liars. Liars. And I don't want to live in a world where everything is that upside down, such a total lie.
It is, when you think about it. It is truly, it's upside down. Socialism, and people don't realize it. It's an economic and political theory, like with social organization, and its goal is to control production, distribution, the exchange of goods and services, and it's to be like owned or regulated by the community as a whole. But that always leads to, when it's implemented, true socialism, when it's implemented, always leads to communism, which is, it's socialism on steroids, and it includes the lovely little bit that there is basically no more private property, and the state owns everything. Oh, including you.
Right.
There's
yeah, no, it's scary stuff, and I think that I think part of the reason why we've gotten to this point, besides the obvious, political correctness and the identity politics and all of these different things, where we have been kind of silenced into going along with terrible ideas because it's not socially acceptable to provide any sort of resistance to a lot of these ideas a good amount of the time. But it's also because, we've lived in a time for so long, I think, of such privilege and prosperity. People of my generation, and certainly generations under, don't really understand struggle that much. I mean, we haven't really seen massive wars, or a Great Depression, or any of these things that kind of, certainly we haven't seen socialism and communism like other countries have experienced, that where people are fleeing that and coming to our country. But I think that there's this naive notion that America will just always be okay. We'll always have too much. We're impervious to any kind of downfall. I think that people my age and younger think naively that America will just always be fine. So why not? Why not embrace socialism? Why not just divvy up everything that we have and take from the rich and give to the poor? Because we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I don't think they understand that there's no guarantee. We're not always going to be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine until we're not. Hey, Brandon, we got a phone call. I'm not sure who it is, so caller, identify yourself and talk to Brandon Strock.
This is Mike, BZ.
How do you do, Mike?
Brandon, we all know that the Democratic Party is a cobbled together bunch of constituency groups. They're not a unified party, and it shows in what they do. But before you did your video, and you probably fit into one of those constituency groups before you did your video, correct?
Fit into, I'm sorry, what kind of group?
Constituency group. You got the gays, you got you got the blacks, the Hispanics, the this, the that. All these people that come together in the Democratic Party that they don't really fit together, but they're Democrats nonetheless. And a lot of these people came in there and started walking away with you, and they've also formed other groups, like your walkaway group, that are talking about this stuff. Like, you're starting to see the African Americans or the blacks coming out and saying they like the economy and all that stuff, and all this stuff. And the thing is that's I think that's part of why they're doing this whole thing with the president and this whole force that is the impeachment proceedings, is because they're losing some of those groups of people that they work so hard to finagle into their party for voting for them blindly,
Okay, that's an interesting point. We're going to have to take a break. Folks, we're talking to, and thanks, Mike. I appreciate the phone call and the question.
Thanks, Mike.
We're going to have to take a break. When we come back, let me see if I can massage that a little bit into another question for Brandon. When we come back after the break, I'd like to ask Brandon if he's, because I know for a fact we've got Blexit and we have walk away. So my next question for Brandon when we come back is, Do you take umbrage to any of this stuff, or do you kind of feel like the mom and dad, the parents who's happy that they've got their son or their child or their daughter and they're growing up and they throw them out into the world and they're ready to grow? So we'll come back. We're talking to Brandon Strock. He's the creator of the entire hashtag Walk Away movement. Got some audio cuts, got some questions, got some, he made some appearances recently that I'd like to ask him about. And also he's got some appearances coming in the future that I would like to ask about. So folks, that's Brandon Strock. I'm BZ, and you are listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network. Don't go anywhere. Well, yeah, you can go to the bathroom or get some popcorn. Now, come on. I'm not that stringent, really.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
Featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian Sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with Double the Hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty void in Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you are listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media Studios, where I'm broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. Again, tonight we have the distinct honor and pleasure of speaking to Brandon Strock. He is the creator of the entire Walk Away program, the hashtag Walk Away. And that means not the Joe Walsh song with the James Gang. No, not Walk Away. He means walk away from the entire Democrat Party. The question I asked before we took the break was, Brandon Strock, do you kind of feel like a proud dad seeing that some of your folks are kind of moving off on their own and they're taking what you started and they're kind of personalizing it and making it their own? Or are you thinking, no, I think I can do it pretty much the best?
The latter. No, I don't like it. Because what I don't like is that, we started Walk Away, and from the very beginning, Walk Away was a movement, and still is a movement for all people.
Okay.
I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your race is, your gender. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care if you believe in God or don't believe in God. I don't care if you're a Republican or an independent or a libertarian, if you love Trump, if you don't love Trump. Our movement is for all people to come together unified in respect, support, civility, patriotism, and a quest for truth. And what I don't like is that as this movement has become so successful, others have kind of decided that they wanted to do a spin-off of it and divide a sect of people off and say,
yeah,
I don't like it at all. And I don't, first of all, I find it divisive. And second of all, if I were being really honest, since it's just you and me having a private conversation here and nobody's listening, I'll tell you, just between the two of us, that I feel like it's kind of like taking credit for other people's work. When you kind of come in, you say, well, it's because of me or my movement that this group of people is leaving. It's like, no, because we, from the beginning, we had every type of person making testimonials, and thank goodness we still do. But to the latter point, do I think that what we're doing is better? Absolutely. I mean, anybody who's ever been to a walkaway event or attended anything that Walkaway does says the feedback that we get overwhelmingly, resoundingly is people say they love the way it makes them feel and that they've never felt in their lives the way they felt when they went to a Walkaway event. And that cannot be replicated anywhere else.
Brandon Strock, tell us a little bit about the growth of your group and its management. Is it pretty much kind of like what you started, or have you added a lot of people, some extra programs and the like? Have you maybe exploded in terms of personnel? And how do you keep track of all that's going on? Can you give us a sense of what it's been like to try to manage Walk Away?
Oh boy, it has been okay. So before I say anything, let me first of all say that I have literally never been happier than I am in my life right now doing this job, leading this movement. I've never loved anything more. I've never been more passionate about anything. So even when I complain, it's a labor of love. It's not like a complaint. So, but I will say it's the hardest thing I've ever done. I've never sacrificed more in my entire life. And it's very, very, very hard. We've certainly not exploded in terms of personnel. We need a lot more help. But in order to get that help, we need money. I mean, we tried as long as we could to get by just kind of having a handful of volunteers and everybody trying to just put out whatever fires were happening at that moment. but we're too big now. We're too known. The expectations upon us are too great, and we made it. When I say we, I mean me and my very, very tiny core team. I'm talking about 4 or 5 people here. Have made a decision that, starting within the next month, we're going to start bringing on staff, paid staff, and whether we can afford it or not. And either the public is going to step up and support us, or we're just going to ride it till the wheels fall off. But we simply cannot be 4 or 5 people doing the jobs of 20 people anymore. It's unsustainable that way.
Now, you've got a YouTube channel that you're about to open. Is that correct?
Oh, no. Our YouTube channel's been around since the beginning.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Well, I wanted to make sure I clarified that. But
what you might be thinking is that you may have seen something on my Twitter feed, perhaps, that might have confused you. So every Sunday night we do what we call the Walkaway Sunday Night Premiere.
Okay, there we go.
So every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we premiere some sort of new material or content or a walkaway event, something that we've done. And when we do our events, whether it be the Walkaway Black Americans Town Hall, Hispanic Americans Town Hall, LGBT Town Hall, we go around the country doing these events, and we put together an amazing panel, fly people from around the country to be on our panelists, and then we hire a videography crew and we film it, and we put together a beautiful production, and then totally for free, Sunday nights at 7 p.m., we invite our community to come together and watch it together. You pop popcorn, sit down in front of your TVs and you can chat with this community. We usually have well over 1,000 people watching at a time. And we just, you can watch and you can talk to each other. And we built a community, a Sunday night community at these premieres. So that may be what you're thinking, that this Sunday night we're showing the Walkaway Black Americans Town Hall that we did in Atlanta in September, and it's going to be a great event. Everybody should definitely tune into that on the official Walkaway YouTube channel, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, once again, Brandon Strock is in my head. He'll be leaving in about 20 minutes or so that's fine. So I want to emphasize what he just said. This Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, Walkaway Black Americans Town Hall in Atlanta. A ton of good people here. And because it's on your Twitter page, I don't feel bad playing about 30 seconds of a gentleman named YG Nightstorm, who makes a great point for all the various haters who are out there.
Ask questions that give us a chance to respond. We did not interrupt you, so please give us a chance to respond. Now, you attacked my story.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, bro, it was people just like you that motivated me to get off my ass and do something and change my life.
And that's just a snippet of what you're going to be hearing this Sunday, November the 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern, and that's right on Brandon Strock's official YouTube channel. That's the point that I wanted to get to. While we're here, The other point that I want to make is, let's see, let me get my notes correct. Oh, yeah, you've got another event coming right back to California, not that terribly far away from me, Thursday, November 21st at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time at the Chico Elks Lodge in Chico, California. That's in Northern California, kind of right in the middle, unfortunately, of PG&E country. So can you tell us a little bit, Brandon Strock, about this event that you've got going in Chico on Thursday, November 21st, if people want to attend?
Oh, boy. I believe it's a Republican women's event.
Okay.
Okay. Listen. Okay, so you've caught me with my pants down. Here's the thing. I'm doing so many events now that I never know what the event is until like 2 days before I go.
Okay. All right.
So I have somebody on my team right now, the lovely and talented Melissa Roby, and she is doing all of the booking and all of this. So Melissa's got that all organized. And then she basically comes to me and she says, so this is where we're headed and this is what we're doing. And I just get led along like a dog on a leash. And then once the dog shows up, they let me off my leash, and I do my thing, and then I get put back on my leash, and I go to the next place.
One thing that I didn't know that I think is a great idea, again, a continuing number of great things that you're doing and you've done, is you do voter registration at every event, don't you?
Yes, we sure do. And so the last event that we produced ourselves was just this last Saturday in New York City. We did the very first walkaway Hispanic American town hall, and we did that in District 14 of New York City, which is Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's district.
Okay.
And we had a full house for that event, and we changed the voter registrations of 6 Hispanic Americans away from the Democrat Party that night. They changed their voter registrations on the spot. And so we always register new voters and change the registrations of other voters once they hear our presentation. So it's pretty remarkable.
I think that's amazing, and for that you deserve at least a... So you had a good time there at the Hispanic American Town Hall in New York City.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this earlier, and I feel compelled to bring this up now. People need to realize that your organization really is an honest-to-God grassroots organization. Leftists and others are saying that you are astroturfing. And for people who don't know what astroturfing is, that basically is attempting to conceal your true donors. And Brandon Strzok, that's quite frankly a load of bullshit, isn't it?
Oh, yes, thank you. That's the perfect word for it. It bothers me so much because, first of all, it completely negates the incredible amount of hard work that my team and I do on a very limited budget, and the decisions that we have to make based off of that limited budget. Believe me, if we were astroturfed and we were, which for anyone listening means basically that you have a lot of large donors, but you're pretending like you're grassroots. And if we had that kind of funding, I would be doing events even greater than the events we do now, which are pretty amazing. I mean, we really have to sit down and make this. First of all, we have to choose when we can do events based off of our funding. We have to say, well, can we afford to do this event for this community in this space at this time? And if we decide the answer is yes, we can afford to do it. Then we have to say, okay, what size venue can we afford? How much security can we afford to? And then we have to kind of scale accordingly. You know, we can only hire so much security. We can only afford such a certain level of space, whatever. So it's hard. It's hard to work within those confines, and it's hard to kind of keep an operation going. But we do it. We're proud of it. But it certainly rubs me the wrong way when people say, "Oh, well, they've got millions of dollars. They're being funded by this special interest or that billionaire over there." Not true.
Yeah.
Absolutely 100% not true.
Yeah. Folks, just to let you know, George Soros is not knocking down Brandon's door. The Koch brothers are not knocking down Brandon's door.
Nope.
One other time, I want to play this before the hour is up. You put this. Hell, I'll do it right now. You put this up on YouTube, or excuse me, you put this up on Twitter, and as you indicated, it's not for the faint of heart. There's a young lady named Shamika Michelle, and I think that we're going to hear from her if we listen to your show on Sunday night from Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
She pretty much lays things out right here about the Democrat Party. This is blunt, folks, but I think you need to hear it because this is another individual expressing themselves about how they really feel about walking away from the Democrat Party. And with a lot of folks, you have to understand, it's visceral.
Land of the free, home of the brave, I'm the new black Moses, here to free the slaves. From the Democrats, break the chain, walk away, make America great again. They want to see our babies dead and our men in a cage, block our freedom of speech, take away our 12 gauge. Dump Trump, are you drinking booze? Check the past. We ain't got nothing to lose. We had little boy Bush who didn't give a fuck, who came after Clinton who just got his dick sucked. Then I'll bring change. That's what I do. What's a bummer? He never did shit for you. Please, back to back, we will play like fools. For men and women's restrooms, pissing on the stools. Put illegal immigrants over people like me. No habla inglés, then ICE. I ain't done. I'm coming back. Stay where you are. I said stay where you at. I got more to say, cause I'm tired of being played. And I'ma be who I am, but right now I don't give a damn. Some say he's racist and tweets like a kid, while overlooking all the good shit that he did. I ain't ashamed of my president a little bit. I'd rather have an alpha male than a little bitch. Dems don't care, it's a fact, it's true. Ain't you tired of being raped? Then they ask me too. Now that me done, jump to your feet, cause the Meek Michelle just earled on the beat.
That's my friend Shamika.
She's pretty damn serious about that, if I'm not mistaken. I want to ask you a question when we get back for that. I want to examine that audio cut for a minute because I have a few immediate thoughts. But we have a caller on the line. Go ahead, caller. You're talking to Brandon Strock.
Hi, Brandon. This is Simone from chat.
Hi, Simone.
Hi. I don't really have any questions, but I just wanted to tell you that you inspire me. And I want you to keep going. And as soon as you find a place where people can donate to cause, you need to let me know. Because I have lots of friends that would be interested. We just need to know where to do that at. So keep it up. Don't give up.
I won't, Simone. I can tell you right now. You can go to walkawaycampaign.com and click donate. And that'll direct you directly to our, so we're a 501c3 organization, nonprofit. And if you click the donate button, it'll connect you to our nonprofit donation platform called Classy. And it's very easy to donate there. And for people who don't like to make an online payment, we offer the address on the website for anyone who wants to do a mail-in donation.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Simone, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Just keep it up and emphasize you're not a big money guy like the criminal big money people are. And so I'm going to put the word out with the people that I know to go to that site or to mail something to you, because you got to keep going. We got to keep you going, and don't give up.
I'm not going anywhere. I promise you, I'm not going anywhere. Even if I have to, walk in everywhere I go and. I can't buy any clothes. I'll still be doing it. Don't worry about it. Walkaway campaign.
So do you carry any swag with you or anything? Things that people can buy? Like when you're in Chico, people go there. They can, also support you by buying, I don't know, stuff that you have that talk about the movement. Do you have anything like that?
Absolutely. Well, everywhere we go, we have a table where we sell shirts and hats and stickers and buttons and. Yes, we'll have all of that in Chico.
Excellent, because then I can bring all that noise back and start singing your song with my people.
So you're going to be there in Chico?
I'm gonna try.
Okay, if you're there,
it's my hope.
Please come up to me if you're there and say to me, "Hey, Brandon, it's me, Simone from the radio show," and I'll give you a hug.
Oh, perfect! And a photo op, I hope too.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. I'll get on the phone and I'll call. Just keep on going. Don't give up.
I never will. Thank you.
Okay,
great.
Bye.
Great. Thanks, Simone. Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Anyway, we heard that audio cut, and I have a few immediate thoughts. The first is, Brandon Strock, is that this wouldn't have occurred, in my opinion, if you hadn't started Walk Away. The second is, that is heretofore an almost unthinkable damning of the Democrats and leftists from what was at one point like an immutable and unmovable voting bloc for the Democrats, Black America. A reaction like that in 2019 is extraordinary. It's extraordinary. And third, your walkaway movement opened the floodgates and allowed, again, in my opinion, people of all paint jobs and stripes to think for themselves in terms of their politics. And fourth, Brandon Strock, you have created the opportunity, and I am so thankful that people are doing this, the opportunity for introspection and self-examination that up to this point really wasn't up for bid. And that's an amazing thing in my brain.
Well, thank you very much. That means a lot to me. I mean, what means the most to me is that it means something to other people. And, I think that knowing that it has touched people and resonated with people the way that it has is enormously fulfilling. But I guess I'm the kind of person that I try to keep my eyes focused on what's ahead and not what has happened behind me. So in my mind, it's like, it's great, but let's just keep moving. Let's go wake more people up. Let's touch more people. There's still a lot of people who've never even heard of Walkaway.
Oh yeah.
It's not as though everyone's heard of it and some people just don't embrace. There's a lot of people haven't even heard of it yet. So I've got a lot of work to do. And, so that's where I'm keeping my focus.
Okay, up in chat, by the way, and I haven't said this, I thanks to everybody in chat, Alaskan, Wendy, Real, Mike Pasqua. Simone is in chat, Jackson chat. Simone just put up in the chat room the address, Walk Away with Brandon Strock, Thursday, 11:30 to 1:30 p.m., Chico Elks Lodge, number 423, 1705 Manzanita Avenue, Chico, California. Folks, if you're listening, go to the chat room right now, and you can find the address if you happen to be in California or Northern California on Thursday at 11:30. Great place to go. Meet Brandon. Simone, if you go there, Brandon has promised you a hug, and you need to pick that up, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Brandon, let's see. We got about 4 more minutes left before the top of the hour.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, so Shamika Michelle, who did that rap that you just played, did you happen to see, so she was in the Black Americans Town Hall Atlanta, which is going to be premiering this Sunday on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Did you happen to see her clip that I put on my Twitter feed for Sunday night's premiere?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you really should take a look at it. I just released it earlier tonight. It's already gotten over 1,000 retweets. It's very powerful and very good. You just give it a look when you get a chance.
Okay, I happen to be, let's see. I am on your Twitter page right now. Let me refresh that. And
very close to the top.
Here's one. Let's see. Please retweet. Oh, there it is. Okay, there she is. Okay, folks, if you go to at Brandon, Brandon, Straka, it's actually pronounced Strock, Straka right now, about 3 posts down, there's her talking about I wake up to where I want to go and not to where I used to be. And
that's right.
That video is up right now, and you can see it right now. And a lot of people are applauding her, and that is in anticipation of the YouTube video that you're going to be releasing this Sunday night on your YouTube channel where you are in Atlanta. The Walkaway Black Americans Town Hall. Go there quick like a bunny this Sunday to see that. She'll be there. I just played the audio cut, and a great time will be had by all. 2 minutes left. Brandon Strock, what's in your future, do you think, for the rest of the year?
Oh, well, I'm already excited about several events that we have coming up right after the new year.
Okay.
So we're looking right now at a Walkaway American Women's Town Hall.
Okay.
Which can't give you an enormous amount of details yet, but I can tell you that it's either going to take place in late January or early February. We've signed on Laura Trump to be one of our panelists.
Nice.
Yep, we're talking right now to a couple other people who I guess I probably shouldn't name because we haven't gotten a confirmation. But anyway, the purpose of this event is that this is going to be a women's event for women who are sick and tired of being represented by third and fourth wave feminists. It's basically the anti-women's march. And it is going to be like the quintessential ladies' night out. It's going to be wild. It's going to be fun. It's going to be rowdy. And it's going to be basically non-liberal women getting their voices back, being loud, having a good time. It's going to be amazing. So we're looking to do that in Nashville. And then right after the new year in January, we're going to be looking to our very first walkaway Jewish Americans town hall. And I don't want to get anyone too excited, but I just got confirmation today that one of the Bravo's Real Housewives will be on my panel.
Very nice, very nice. And also compliments to you. I think it was February, March of this year. You were on the Mark Levin show. And what a great showing you had there. Folks, we've been talking to Brandon Strock, and I want to emphasize this again because Simone basically said this, and it made me want to reemphasize. You want to join the movement, or if you want to donate, go to walkawaycampaign.com for Brandon Strock. Walkawaycampaign.com, all one word, walkawaycampaign.com. Brandon Strock, thank you ever so kindly for staying up this late. It's now midnight where you are. The magic witching hour. Well, Halloween's past. So again, thank you ever so kindly for being on here tonight. I appreciate it, and I have a great time every time you're on.
Me too. I'll come back anytime. Love talking with you.
Alrighty. Thank you kindly, sir. And hit the feathers, and I'm going to go to a commercial break. So thank you, sir.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Have a great night, too.
Right,
Brandon Strock, folks. Back again. Love the hell out of him. Love the guy. And you need to donate to walk away. All the people that want to walk away. Because it's 2020 coming right around the corner. November, well, we have just slightly less than a year to make sure that we get a second term for President Trump. Because trust me, the leftists and the trolls are out. And I'm having my own little personal loving wars with them. They're calling me all sorts of bad names, all the standard ists and obes that you can possibly think of. So in an ist or obe fashion, I'll be right back after this. And then I've got some happy stories and a couple of other stories as well. I'm BZ. That was Brandon Strock. And you're listening to the Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show right here live and direct at the SHR Media studios, shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
This is Shannon Wright of The Right Way with Shannon and Mike in the AM. Mike's not here, so I gotta talk fast. You gotta join us. Fall season. Getting ready to start up with a whole bunch of new stuff. News and food and politics and sports and entertainment and a whole bunch of stuff. But wait, Mike's coming. I gotta go. Remember, Shannon and Mike in the AM on SHR Media, Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. Make sure you tune in.
featuring right thinking from a left brain and doing the job the American maggots won't. BZ is fundamentally changing America one diaper at a time. Just when safety pin manufacturers are running out of metal for the diapers of the leftists, where the speech is free, but the drinks are not. The bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night, commencing at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific, where pushback is a requisite art form in and of itself. Let your ossicles be truly liberated when you listen to the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, only on SHR Media Network. No ferrets were harmed in the making of this ad.
Join me, Jack Alexander, for the Jack Alexander Experiment podcast, as I take a unique outsider's look at the issues affecting the USA. I fearlessly take on the issues that everyone else is too scared to touch. The Jack Alexander Experiment podcast is available wherever good podcasts can be found, like Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcast. The Jack Alexander Experiment, because it's not a matter of left versus right, it's a matter of right versus wrong.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
Featuring the effervescent contrarian Sackheads Clint, plus the unrestrained bulbosity of BZ, the Sackheads Against Tyranny is a real chat show. Doubling your late-night conservative talk show pleasure with double the hosts, you can listen every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Please note, some contents may have settled during shipping. Member FDIC, batteries not included, warranty voided, Montenegro.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I love that guy. I love his voice. He's snooty and arrogant, and I knew when I heard him that I had to have him do a promo for us. Now I want to have him do one of the stingers for us for the SHR Media show. Anyway, in the first hour, we had Brandon Strock. Thanks again, Brandon, for being here. In the second hour, I've got a lot of happy stories. I've got some other stories, but I've also got an audio cut that I wasn't able to play for the first hour. And when you have Brandon on, especially a late-night radio show like me, some people sent me some texts and things while I was doing the show and said, hey, see if you can get him on for a second hour. And I thought, he's been nice enough on all the other shows. On most of the other shows, he'll do 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. But he does customarily and has up to this point a full hour on my show. So I consider that to be a real blessing. And he stays up so late in the first place to do that that's not an envelope at this point that I really want to push. But there is an audio cut that I wanted to play, and of course I just didn't have time for. And this also is from, let me see. Darn it. I'm going to see if I play that other cut that he was talking about off of Brandon Strock's Twitter. This is an audio cut, about 31 seconds. This is, what is her name? Karen, I can't think of her last name. And she's talking about the black vote on MSNBC. And the host on MSNBC didn't quite anticipate getting this response from her. Let's see if I can pull that up. Here we go. Alrighty. Might help if I stop this, pull it back, and actually turn on the volume. There we go.
He's doing wonderful with the economy, with criminal justice reform. He's uplifting black people. So when I look at that, that is what's important to me. Because His tweets, it doesn't add $1 to my purse. It doesn't give my son a job. It doesn't help me purchase a home. It doesn't get me out of debt. His policies do. So if I have to look at what matters most, is the policies that he produces and the results. He's doing wonderful with the economy.
Anyway, you just heard that. I'm back on Brandon Strzok's Twitter page, and he was talking about Shamika Michelle. And you heard a bit from that, and he wanted to clue me into a new bit that he's going to play this coming Sunday at 7 p.m. on his YouTube channel, 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's 4 p.m. Pacific for those who are on the far left coast in the United Snakes of America. Here's her talking. It's about a 1 minute, 15-second cut where she's talking and she says, I wake up to where I want to go and not to where I used to be. And she pulls no punches, folks.
It doesn't give my son a job. It doesn't help me purchase a home.
Hang on.
It doesn't get me out of debt. His policies do.
Okay, that's not who I wanted to talk to. I did want to talk to her. So let's start that over again. This is what happens when I have a whole bunch of tabs open. Okay, Shamika, take it.
I saw on a magazine when I pulled up to a restaurant the other day, 400 years a slave. Why are we still being fed that in 2019? Listen, every day I wake up and look in the mirror, I see a black woman. I know that I'm black every day. So I don't need to be reminded constantly that I was a slave. When I woke up this morning, there were no chains holding me. I was free. I was free to do what I want, free to think what I want, and free to say what I want. So I don't need somebody constantly reminding me of what my ancestors went through. I used to be a stripper, but guess what? When I wake up in the morning, when I look on my wall, I see dream, imagine, and believe. Although I used to be a stripper, I don't wake up every morning with something on the wall that say, throw that ass in a circle. I wake up with where I want to go and not where I used to be. Come on.
That's a little bit of what you're going to hear from the Walk Away Black Americans Town Hall that came from Atlanta, and it's going to be played. Brandon Strzok's going to play it this Sunday, November 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and you need to be there. And it probably wouldn't shock you if I said maybe it's time for...
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Here's a story from Fox News, and I love the headline on this because it says, quote, not only is impeachment dead on arrival, there's a risk that the Senate doesn't even take it up, Matt Whitaker says. So I should clue you in. Tomorrow is going to be the first broadcasting, and it'll be ever so interesting to see how this goes and how CNN and everybody else either manages to cover up or cock it up, one of the two, when they cover these first public hearings chaired essentially by Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff, his area is, would it shock you to know that Adam Schiff represents Southern California? What a shock. Hope you're sitting down for that one. Former Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker backed Senator Lindsey Graham's assertion that the House Democrats' impeachment inquiry will be dead on arrival if it's not conducted fairly before it reaches the Senate. So stop. Here's the deal. Before you can impeach a president, what you need is the House and the Senate working somewhat in concert, if you will. The House, and if they have the votes, they're going to vote to impeach. And it's essentially a majority vote in the House. So if they have the numbers, the House is going to vote to impeach. You have to understand they haven't voted to do that right now. Otherwise, they would have done so because Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, doesn't have the numbers at this point. So let's say in our wildest fevered dreams, although I'm not even sure that it's going to happen. But let's say, for sake of discussion, that the House decides it's going to impeach and it moves on over to the Senate. In terms of the Senate side, we have 435 representatives in the House. And we have 100 senators, 2 for each state. But the Senate rules are different than the rules in the House, because now they're going to have essentially what amounts to another hearing, but essentially kind of a trial in the Senate, if the Senate decides it's even going to hear it. And if they do, to actually hold an impeachment and to impeach the president, they need a 2/3 vote in the Senate to do that. So Lindsey Graham, Republican, he's a representative, a senator in South Carolina. He accused House Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff of not caring about the truth, and he said Schiff's impeachment efforts, they're not going to go anywhere unless he calls the anonymous whistleblower to come forward, Eric Ciaramella. By the way, get his name right, spell it right. The whistleblower's name is Eric, E-R-I-C, Ciaramella, C-I-A-R-A-M-E-L-L-A, Ciaramella, I think, A or O, just so you know. And Facebook has made it its goal to take down any post that mentions this guy's name. Oh, that's right, except for BZ, who was smarter at this point because it was still up when I checked it about a minute ago or so. If you want to keep your post up and mention this guy on Facebook, what you do is you put a space in between each letter of his name, just like I did, and it's up there. And as a matter of fact, if you do that, that emphasizes his name. Hey, Andy, great to see you. Glad to see you in chat. Jack indicates in chat, by the way, 5 out of the last 6 GOP presidents have all had to endure impeachment hearings of some kind, and there are a lot of very familiar senior Dem names involved with all of them. Imagine that. Now, I mentioned earlier, before the break, and I'm going to continue from now on until November of 2020. We cannot let this go unmatched. With all the literal crap that the Democrats, or the Demorats, as I say, have foisted upon Donald Trump. They're attacking Donald Trump, but make no mistake, when they attack Donald Trump, they're attacking me and they're attacking you by dint of Donald John Trump, OMB, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. They hate him. By extension, they hate you as well. Do not fail to show up for the elections in November. Go to vote everything down ballot. Do not ever vote for another Democrat. Do not ever vote for another Green, essentially anybody else. You want to vote Libertarian, you can go ahead and do that. It's, at this point in the nation's history, not really, unfortunately, going to get you anywhere. Always vote red from now until in perpetuity, because the Democrats, in concert with the American media maggots, are doing their level best to cheat, lie, and steal. And they will do anything, and I wish to emphasize this, bold, italicized, they will keep doing that as long as we don't stop them as Americans. As far as I'm concerned, because this is absolutely unprecedented in United States history. Bipartisanship, as far as I'm concerned, is out the door. I am no longer interested in being bipartisan on anything involving a Democrat. Compromise is out the door. I am no longer interested in compromising with any Democrat on any issue, period, end of statement. They want war. They want to remove you. They want to remove your freedoms, your liberties, your ability to speak, your speech, your words, your writings. They want a socialist country, and if you give them that, it will soon be a communist country. Look to Venezuela. As I said before, the brilliance of communism is that if you want multiple millions of people killed, embrace it. More happy stories. This is great. This is grand. You guys are also going to love this. This is from the Daily Caller. Workers, a month to relocate out west or risk getting fired. From where? The Department of the Interior. Well, wait, BZ. What are you saying here? The Trump administration reportedly notified hundreds of Interior Department employees Tuesday that they're going to have 30 days to relocate to western states or face the potential of job terminations. Stop. Wait. Folks. Why shouldn't they be out there? The Department of the Interior is the Bureau of Land Management. Does the BLM manage much land in New York? No. Does it manage an assload of land in D.C. or Los Angeles or Atlanta or Chicago or Detroit? And the answer is no. The land they manage is kind of the Midwest out to the west. So the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, is relocating 27 employees. Wait a minute. I need a producer. Where's my producer? It's relocating. The BLM is relocating 27 employees. Thank God I had a producer tonight. From Washington, D.C. to the agency's new headquarters in Colorado. Oh, we're going to be away from D.C. And another 220 to field offices out west. The government executive, the GE, reported Tuesday the relocated employees reportedly have until December 12th to agree to the move. There's a choice. It's always about choice. You can agree to the move. If you don't accept the terms, you're fired. I love that. As you could hear, I definitely think that's a happy story. So what happened is BLM held a meeting this past Tuesday to discuss the request, GE reported, cited employees who were attending the meeting. GE is a daily news outlet that caters exclusively to senior officials in the federal government's department. BLM confirmed the report to the Daily Caller, saying the agency is working to give employees information on all options available, and special consideration is going to be made essentially on a case-by-case management system. So each employee is going to be given 90 days to report for duty at their new post if they agree to the move. Employees say few of their colleagues have accepted the relocations. A guy named Derek Henry is a BLM spokesman, told government executive, "We sincerely hope employees will be able to follow their positions to the new locations, but there are many factors that an individual may consider when deciding whether or not to relocate." Stop. When have you ever had the luxury to work at a job that requires you to be a certain place? In other words, your job is to, sell cars, but you don't want to sell cars in your area, your neighborhood. You're going to, sell cars over the internet from DC for a particular car lot where you won't see any customers. Well, BLM, there's no BLM functions in DC, so why not move your employees to the places where they actually work? To me, this is a brilliant bit of management. And as the Alaskan says, it's about damn time they work on the job site. This is interesting. Jack in chat says, one of my viewers is encouraging people to register as a Democrat to mess up the primaries, then vote for Trump in the general elections just to watch the DNC's heads explode. Well, that's never happened before. And the DNC has never screwed with people before, right? Here's a little bit of a happy thing. This is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I consider this to be a happy story. Because here it is, President Trump is naming people that, as far as he's concerned, committed treason. And speaking of that, I have a little bit of an informational update coming very shortly.
By death. You've accused your adversaries of treason. Who specifically are you accusing of treason? What?
Now, do you possibly think that Donald Trump is not going to name names after having been asked this question? And the answer is, oh, hell yeah, he's going to name names.
I think a number of people, and I think what you look is that they have unsuccessfully tried to take down the wrong person. If you look at Comey, if you look at McCabe, if you look at probably people higher than that, if you look at Strzok, if you look at his lover, Lisa Page, his wonderful lover.
Naming
two
names.
Lovers, they talked openly. You know, they didn't use their private server because they didn't want to get caught, so they used the government server. That was not a good move. He talked about the insurance policy just in case crooked Hillary loses, and that didn't work out too well for them.
Nope.
So you look at them, they want an insurance policy so that should she, for any reason, lose, remember, 100 million to 1. Maybe he said 100 million to nothing. But should she lose, we'll have an insurance policy, and we'll get this guy out of office. And that's what they said, and that's what they meant. That's treason. That's treason. They couldn't win the election, and that's what happened. And that's what's happening right now, because without the treason word, I guess, but that's what's happening now. They don't feel they can win the election, so they're trying to do the 1,000 stabs. Keep stabbing. Let's have a financial. And if you look, for $40 million, I would think, seriously, that Bob Mueller and his group of 18 killers have gone over my taxes. They've gone over my financial statements to a level that nobody has gone over them before. And they were not discussed even. They weren't even discussed or brought up. I have great statements. Okay, what else?
Folks, he was making it abundantly clear. He believes that they have committed the highest offense that an American can make in our country, treason.
And that was David Harris. Very interesting point. Here's another little tidbit that I found today. This is a happy story because I can't wait for Sodom to go down. I've had it with this state. I can't leave because of certain personal situations that are going on with me right now. And my wife is still working. She's got probably about another year before she can retire. But if possible, and as soon as possible, I am getting the holy fuck out of this state because it is falling in front of and failing right in front of my very eyes. And the leftists are doing, as I've said for quite some time now, their very level best to make sure that each major urban rat cage in at least California, spell it with a K, looks like beautiful downtown Mogadishu. Now, I've heard people say in terms of California, spell it with a K, it's a beautiful place. Well, no, it's not. I'm in the process of creating a new California flag. It's going to have 3 colors on it that I'm going to have somebody tell me are the proper colors because I'm colorblind. But it's going to have 3 vertical stripes in the new California flag. The first color will be blue. The second color will be brown. And then the third color will be red. And here's what the colors represent in BZ's new California flag. The blue will indicate the blue sky in California because that never changes because we don't get rain. The brown will indicate the drought that we're having because even 20, 50 years ago in California, anytime at any point in the summer, it's always hot and dry and everything is brown. Now also in the wintertime, everything is brown. And everything is brown in California. Except if you get to the coast and you look out to the sea, oh, and that's blue because you can see the blue from the coast. And then red, the final color in the new California, spell it with a K, flag will be red because that means that California is burning up courtesy of the California mismanagement of forests, the California mismanagement of water, and the California mismanagement of power, the likes of which we'll talk about when we come right back after this.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny on shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday, live and direct on the SHR Media Network, shrmedia.com. Be there.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. It's the final 25. Wow. The night has gone quickly, has it not? Thanks once again to the ever-effervescent Brandon Strock, who was here during the entire first hour, and for that, I thank him ever so kindly. Here's another happy story. Happy for me, happy for you, or if you don't live in California, spell it with a K, you pretty much don't care. But there's a new DA in town in San Francisco. He's a guy by the name of Chesa. I guess I'm spelling this correctly. He's a guy with a beard. I think he's a guy. I'm pretty sure he's a guy, unless he transitioned, and there's nothing in the story indicating that he does, so you can't tell. So Chesa, Chesa, I don't know where the hell that came from, where the background, but the guy's name, because I'm going to call him a guy because he looks like a guy, and that's, these days, what can you say? That's no guarantee. Chesa Boudin, Boudin. Now, in San Francisco, there's Boudin bread. Maybe he's linked somehow to the Boudin family. They've been making sourdough bread, and you can find it generally at Fisherman's Wharf and Pier 39, down around there. And they've been making bread in San Francisco, sourdough, for quite some time. So maybe he's a member and one of the newer members of the Boudin family, Boudin. I didn't Google that. I didn't check it before I came here tonight to check the show. But he's decided that this is why it's a happy story. He's decided that this is a great way now for San Francisco to go. San Francisco's newly elected. Now, the people wanted him. He's a wanted guy. The newly elected district attorney has promised, thank God, not to prosecute public urination and other quality of life crimes that have plagued the lucrative Bay Area amidst a crippling homelessness crisis affecting urban communities all across California. Now, in response to an American ACLU, an American Civil Liberties Union questionnaire reported by the San Francisco Chronicle last month, Chesa Boudin has said that such crimes will not be prosecuted. Remember anything about the broken windows theory in New York City and how Giuliani managed to clean up New York City to the point where crime plummeted? Well, that's right. He made it all about quality of life issues and about the broken window theory. If you allow a broken window to continue, there will be other broken windows. You know how that theory goes. And crime went down under Giuliani. Imagine that. But you can't take that into account because we're talking about leftists in California, spell it with a K, in one of the most left, if not the most leftist town on the left coast, San Francisco. So he said, the new DA, Chesa Boudin, those crimes are not going to be prosecuted. We will not prosecute cases involving quality of life crimes. Crimes such as public camping, offering or soliciting sex. That's going to go well. Oh, fuck yeah. Public urination, blocking a sidewalk should not and will not be prosecuted. Now, this is also the area where, in order to commit a felony in terms of theft, and this is true basically all up and down California now, spell it with a K, grand theft, a felony, now only consists of if you steal something valued at $950 or above. And many DAs in many jurisdictions in California, spell it with a K, will not prosecute theft crimes. So because people aren't unintelligent, though you may think so, thieves have figured out that if you steal less than $950 each individual time, if you go to a series of stores, because each store that you steal from is a separate count, and as long as you don't go above the $950 value of each and every store that you steal shit from, it's a misdemeanor. Guess what? In all these jurisdictions, most of them don't prosecute misdemeanor crimes anymore in California. So they can go in and steal to their heart's content, to the point now where we have many gangs of people going in. Because if each, listen, think like a thief. If you go in and steal stuff in a big group, but you only steal stuff valued at $950 or less in California, you can keep it. So you take it and you throw it in the back of your Cadillac that's about, I don't know, maybe 7 years old. Or your Lexus. Lexus is pretty popular with the poor, air quotes, in California. And then you go get your food stamps or your SNAP cards and that EBT or your EBT cards. I'm sorry, I almost forgot about those because I had somebody get steak the other day on an EBT card in California. Spell it with a K. Because that's fun. I like to see that. So quality of life issues in California can go right to hell. So saith the new DA, district attorney in San Francisco. Now, San Francisco is unique in California, spell it with a K, because its city limits are also its county limits. So they're both one and the same. The DA prosecutes both areas. It's in the city and the county of San Francisco. This is an experiment. California's, spell it with a K, is an experiment. Boudin, he's a progressive attorney. You would think no less. You would hope no less. A progressive attorney and a former public defender. Oh, didn't see that one coming. I did not see that coming. Defeated the city's top prosecutor last week after promising sweeping criminal justice reforms. He was one of several progressive candidates elected to district attorney offices all across the country in recent years, funded by George Soros. Boudin's campaign did not immediately respond to a Fox News request Monday night for confirmation about the quality of life pledge. You'll love this. This is the best part. This is why it's a happy story, because San Francisco is about to get exactly what it deserves. A white-hot piece of rebar right up its ass. Boudin's campaign, Boudin is the son of parents who were members of the radical left-wing Weather Underground. I grew up during the times of the Weather Underground, a group of violent motherfuckers in California who, that's right, they killed people. Boudin, oh, this is a shocker too. I hope you're sitting down, because Boudin grew up with his parents incarcerated for their roles in an armed robbery that left 3 men dead. It just keeps getting better in California, spell it with a K. But he says now, there can be no justice when we utilize prison and jail as the solution to all of our problems, he said Saturday after interim DA Susie Loftus conceded the race. We must think differently. Stop. Who did I have on that you listened to last Thursday? That's right, Andrew Pollack, who lost his 18-year-old daughter, Meadow, in the Parkland shooting because the Broward County Public School District decided that they were not going to take care of children committing crimes, misdemeanors, occasionally even felonies, up to and including, as he delineated, you got to get the book, Why Meadow Died, up to and including rape. Who's the guy that said, well, it's not rape? Well, apparently in Broward County, it's not rape. And apparently Me Too, the hashtag Me Too movement never really got to Broward County. But Gavin Newsom also decriminalized outrageous behavior in classrooms, and there's a new law saying you can't do anything with kids about that. Well, why not take that beautiful thing that ended up killing 17 people in the Parkland shooting and drag it kicking and screaming into San Francisco in California, spell it with a K. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. So California, spell it with a K, and San Francisco are going to be specifically new Petri dishes, experiments for what not to do with what was a once beautiful state. And we're going to see just truly, and initially when I started this phrase, I was kind of kidding last year. Well, I'm not kidding anymore. I am fully convinced that the bulk, if not all, of the leftists in California, spell it with a K, make sure they want to make sure that every urban rat cage in California does, in fact, shortly resemble beautiful downtown Mogadishu. Last year, the city assigned 6 workers to a poop patrol detail to rid the streets of human waste. San Francisco received 27,000 requests to pick up excrement last year. 25 restrooms in an entire city the size of San Francisco. This will work well. 25 restrooms were added. Oh, if you're a contractor, can you imagine this? Each restroom. Oh, they bent the city of Sacramento over and butt-fucked them. Each restroom cost the city and county of San Francisco. I hope you really are sitting down for this. Each restroom cost $200,000 each to help alleviate the problem. So the city and county of San Francisco spent $200,000 per restroom, and 25 restrooms in the city and county of Sacramento. Literally, and I'm saying this because it's kind of funny, but literally, it ain't going to cover shit, if you get my meaning. Good night, Mike. Here's another happy story. This is from the New York Post. California, spell it with a K. You are doomed and you are gone. You are absolutely gone. California. Definitely spell it with a K. From the New York Post, New Yorkers come together to boo moron de Blasio at Veterans Day Parade yesterday. So this just occurred. Mayor Bill de Blasio was booed and jeered by spectators as he marched in the city's, what was this? 100th annual Veterans Day Parade on Monday. One parade goer wearing an American flag sweatshirt and a mask depicting President Trump partially on the top of his head shouted F-bombs as His Honor walked past. Other onlookers called the mayor Comrade de Blasio and urged him to go home. Imagine that. De Blasio waved an American flag and appeared unfazed by the taunts and mocking as he walked the 12-mile route along 5th Avenue from 24th Street to 46th Street. And he wanted to be your president. Here's another story. I read this with a fair amount, and I think after I announce this story to you, you may decide that you're going to read this yourself a little bit more religiously. And I'm talking about the Gateway Pundit. In 2019, the Gateway Pundit was 100% correct on the top 4 U.S. news story, and the mainstream media, the mainstream liberal media, what I term the American media maggots, was 100% incorrect. And as they wrote in the headline, again, I love this, pathetic liars. Oh, Alaskan also writes, but if they happen to have a big gulp with them at the same time they take that dump with a plastic straw, then the whole full force of the law will come down on them like a ton of bricks. Well, you're probably true. You're probably right, Alaskan. So, GatewayPundit.com. In 2019, the Gateway Pundit was one of America's most accurate news publishers, but you'll never hear that acknowledged by the American media maggots. In the top 4 news stories of the year, the Gateway Pundit was more accurate and truthful than the far-left Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, and the rest of the liberal mainstream media. And my guess would be, that's probably why their readership continues to rise. These were the 4 top stories where they were accurate. The first one was the Covington Catholic School boys' media assault. That was when they questioned the media narrative that the Catholic high school boys had abused that poor Native American guy and that Vietnam veteran. It turned out that they were 100% correct, and the hateful far-left media was completely inaccurate in their instincts and their dangerous reporting. Number 2, the Jussie Smollett fake hate crime. Their first report on this Sub-Zero Chicago attack was that it was a hate hoax. And it was wildly absurd. It was stupid that Jussie Smollett is going to be out at 0:30 when it's cold as batfuck in Chicago, and he walks home with a noose around his neck and leaves it there. Because if it were so terrible and anathema to him, the first thing he'd do is rip it off. He might keep it as evidence, but he wouldn't leave it around his neck. Unless it's a hoax. The third one was the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. The Gateway Pundit reported on that chapter in American history. They reported for 3 years. The American media maggots piled on all the lies, and it's still untrue to this day. And tomorrow we're going to see... Now, I wish I could tell you that I knew for a fact that there was going to be a Sackheads radio show tomorrow night. I do not know, because I have not been in contact yet with Sackheads Clint to discern whether or not there will be a radio show with him. So if there is, we might have an update in terms of what tomorrow's Kabuki Theater will be like, with the conductor as Adam Schiff himself. And it's going to be a show trial, and it's going to be all about impeachment, and they don't have the numbers, pretty much. And it's going to be about Eric Ciaramella, Ciaramella, and I told you how to make sure that you put it up in your Facebook posts. So what do we know about that whistleblower, air quotes, Eric Ciaramella? Well, he worked with a DNC operative. This is a real name. Not kidding. This is not a stage name. With a DNC operative, Alexandra Chalupa. What were her parents thinking when they allowed the last name of Chalupa to go on? I'd like a Chalupa, please. Well, if Alexandra is halfway attractive, maybe somebody has had a number of Chalupas. In creation of Trump-Russia collusion hoax. Eric Ciaramella was fired from the National Security Council in 2017 for... Wait a minute. Where's my producer? Eric Ciaramella was fired from the National Security Council in 2017 for leaks. According to the CIA, and he was returned to the CIA from the National Security Council. Eric Ciaramella worked directly under James Clapper. Imagine that. Eric Ciaramella worked and traveled with Joe Biden. Joe quid pro quo 30330 Joe Biden. Eric Ciaramella served in the Obama administration. Eric Ciaramella worked with communist John Brennan, the guy with the prayer rug, the Muslim prayer rug in his office. And of course, well, come on, he's a registered Democrat. He's had a professional tie to a 2020 Democrat. He coordinated and took guidance from Adam Schiff's staff, and then Adam Schiff lied about it. Schiff's staff recommended attorneys for the so-called whistleblower. Ciaramella was kicked out of the White House for leaking negative stories about Donald Trump in 2017. Trump hater Ciaramella was behind the fake story that Putin told Trump to fire Comey, a complete fake news story from 2017. Ciaramella's attorneys worked for James Clapper, Hillary Clinton, Little Chucky Schumer, and donated to Joe Biden. An attorney for Ciaramella is a member of the hashtag Resistance. Ciaramella worked with Joe Biden in the executive branch when he was vice president. Chiaramella had no problem with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's $1 million pay-for-play scandal with Ukraine. Chiaramella traveled with Joe Biden to Ukraine. Excuse me. Chiaramella worked with DNC operative Alexandra, I love this last name, oh, come on, Chalupa, in the creation, I can't say that name and not smile, okay? In the creation of the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. A former associate of James Clapper, Charles McCullough, assisted Chiaramella with his complaint against Trump. And Adam Schiff's aides, Abigail Grace and Sean Misko, worked with Chiaramella in the White House. And now we know that Eric Chiaramella was a guest of Joe Biden's to a luncheon with the late Prime Minister of Italy in 2016. So all along, the Gateway Pundit was 100% correct in their instincts and on their reporting. What have I got? I got 5 more minutes. So Eric Chiaramella, his attorney, has said, and from the very beginning, and this proves, of course, there is no bias on behalf of Eric Chiaramella or his attorney. There's no bias whatsoever. Since his attorney posted since 2017 that there should be impeachment. The guy's name, Eric Chiaramella's attorney, is named Mark Zaid, Z-A-I-D. And he's one of the attorneys representing the intelligence community whistleblower, air quotes, at the center of this ongoing impeachment stuff. In July of 2017, Zaid remarked, I predict, this is a quote, this is a direct quote, I predict CNN will play a key role in Donald Trump not finishing out his full term as president. Also, that month, Zaid tweeted, quote, a direct quote, we will get rid of him, and this country is strong enough to survive even him and his supporters. No bias there whatsoever on Mark Zaid's behalf or aspect and Eric Chiaramella. Amid a slew of impeachment-related posts, Zaid assured and assuaged his Twitter followers that as one falls, 2 more will take their place, apparently referring to the Trump administration employees who defy the White House. Zaid promised that the coup would occur in many steps. Imagine that. And then those tweets, which came shortly after President Trump fired then-acting Attorney General Sally Yates for failing to defend federal laws in court, which is, her job. Folks, do you think maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, maybe there might be just a wee bit of partisanship involved in this stuff? Now, I know that's it's heinous for me to even suggest that, but I'm kind of led down the road to think that there might be, I can't say for sure, there might be maybe a little partisanship involved. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. Now, if we do have a chat show, a Sackheads Against Tyranny show with myself and Sackheads Clint, I will let people know in social media, in Twitter, my Facebook pages, etc. And I'll probably go into the chat room here and let everybody know one way or the other whether we're going to have one. Tentatively, I am going to have a Thursday show. I have no damn idea who is going to be on the show. All I know is that it's going to be bulbous. There will be lots of buttery political goodness, and my guess would be tomorrow and Thursday, it might have just a wee bit to do with whatever kind of snake oil show, kabuki theater scenario is played out, theater of the absurd, played out tomorrow on the House side. That remains to be seen, right?
Monsieur has unlocked!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, live and direct right here on the SHR Media Network, where I am broadcasting behind enemy lines. Where? Behind enemy lines in occupied California. Spell it with a K. You want to contact me, you can find me on Twitter at BZEP, BZEP, and on my blog at bloviatingzeppelin.net. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and the Boeing Company. If it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. And also by Pratt & Whitney Engines. Thrust, you can trust. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. And, of course, thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than an hour. Thanks to Brandon Strock for being here for the entire first hour. Thanks to you for listening live. Thanks to everybody for being in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day and night, if you're listening live, to do so. So from me to you, God bless, take care, be safe. Sackheads tomorrow, I'll let you know. Good night, Clyde.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night.
Good night, Jim Bob. Go to sleep.
Good night and good luck.